So it looks like we have most of the team on, and any who will join us, we're glad to be here. Jeff, do you want to scroll through and look for a few questions? I want to kick off one, which is really kind of the theme of why we got together. And Brett, you did a perfect job of kind of giving us a launching pad, thinking about purpose and thinking about why we're doing this. And so we're at a crazy time. We all know it. And I was hopeful that we could just kind of go around the horn once with each of you and just be quick, but to the point that we can make, what's in store for us for 2020. Guess what, guys? We don't know, and the crazy part about it is we've never known. We get secure in this false, everything's going great and the future's bright. But you know what? It's just been as insecure as ever. We just have a new, a new serious, wrinkle to deal with. But as we think about the future, and as you guys think about your businesses and all of your various roles, how do we press forward? What, anything come to mind? I don't care if it's marketing. I don't care if it's a decorating technique, something specific to DTG, but I think we could owe it to the folks that are listening and have tuned in for almost 2 hours. And Terry, I'm going to knock on your door first, so you better get ready with some wisdom and some wit. What can we do? What should we do? What's 2020 going to be like? How do we press forward? How do we press onward?
JP said something I thought was really interesting when he was talking about the fact that people are going to do things differently. We don't want to go back to the old ways. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. I think that there are a lot of companies that would never have thought about having some employees. I mean, Brett, you have a production shop. You can't necessarily have your production folks working from home, but you can have artists working from home. You can have salespeople working from home. And I think a lot of companies were forced into that position where they might have been pretty old school and said, well, no, everybody's got to be in the office. Tuesday morning, we have a meeting. We have to have our meeting on Tuesday morning, and we've all sat through that Tuesday morning meeting, right? It's painful. But at every place you go, you have to have that meeting or that get together. And I've worked from home for a long time, and I hate going back to work in the office. And the reason being is I can get so much more done at home, because when you go into the office on Monday morning, what happens? There's somebody walking in your door with a cup of coffee, wanting to shoot the breeze with you, and
Jeff.
Jeff, yeah. I think that a lot of us were forced into doing business in a different way. And I think it's probably going to be good for a lot of us, the way we move forward and say, we don't necessarily have to have a building that houses 50 people. Maybe we're going to have shared offices and people are going to be in the office 1 or 2 days a week. One of my sons lives in New York City, and his company is doing that. They've already said, we're gonna kind of compress down. We didn't realize how efficient we could be by people working in their home offices. So that's my quick point. Is I think that as we move forward, I think that we're going to take the good that came from this and incorporate it into our businesses.
Very good stuff. All right, I'm going to kick it down to JP. JP, since Terry mentioned you.
And I stole your thing.
You didn't steal any of his thunder. Trust me, this guy could go on for a long time.
Yes, I have a lot to say. Well, Jay, I want to make sure I understand the question. You're asking us sort of predict the future. What are we hearing?
What would you do? Anything, any words of wisdom, how do I press forward? We're in chaos right now. So what am I going to do? Give me an idea, throw me a bone, a tip, something to help me look forward and have a little bit of hope.
Yeah, so I think the topic that's been, front of mind is, there's still going to be need and demand. And I think Jeff, had mentioned this earlier, right? So sales opportunities haven't dissipated. They've moved online, or they've shifted to a degree. So I actually see this a bit differently. I think that there's employers out there that need to engage with their remote employees, right? So what better than sending a really rad swag kit, to those home employees to show, sense of, hey, we're being mindful of you. And hey, as we engage on Zoom meetings, you have cool branded swag that showcases our corporate, logo. So I just think that there's still a lot of sales opportunities as we look to, the uncertainty of schools going back to session, right? I think a lot of people would panic to say, hey, a lot of my revenue is dependent on schools, fall sports. there's still going to be teams and there's still going to be school spirit wear. And I think a greater demand more than ever. I mean, I'm a parent, I have 4 kids, and, to contemplate that, kids will be doing remote school at home. Well, that's a whole separate matter. But the reality is to make them feel as normal as possible, to have them engage with teammates and classmates. At the same time, staff members that are part of school, I mean, they have needs as well. So we've been spending a lot of time thinking about how our customers, how apparel decorators at large can still engage, where those opportunities are. Again, I don't want to be self-promotional here, but we have never produced so much killer marketing content in our time in business, 10 years in business. We've been giving away turnkey marketing kits. I mean, we're writing out social media messaging, and we're giving free graphic kits. So I would encourage everybody to check out our blog. So if you just go to inksoft.com and hit resources.
So you are going to give a commercial, but you know what? I'm cool with that because, first of all, I compliment you guys because you have done that. I think it's really smart, but there's a lesson learned from that is all of our businesses could have been doing that and should have been doing that. So rather than cave and buckle under the table, you guys got busy, you got to work, and you created new tools for new customers, and you created an environment that was almost, as much as you could, frictionless, so that there was less of an excuse. And you're trying to create content for decorators to pass on to their end users, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's content to promote, fundraising opportunities, so you can create awareness that, hey, we can service your organization and your needs right now, and here's how we do it. And then, by the way, as I mentioned earlier, if I give, let's say it's a fundraising director for a nonprofit, if I give them social media content that's turnkey, they don't have to think about engaging. They have other responsibilities. So yeah, when we say turnkey, it's content to promote your business services, fundraising offering, but in turn, be able to have content to go to market and get your clients on board. And the one last thing I want to point out, Jay, that I think is going to be pretty critical for the next 2 to 5 years is going to be fundraising. Think about nonprofits that are off their typical fundraising cadence. There's no galas or dinners or silent auctions, yet these organizations who are big fixtures in our community, they have needs. They need to promote their message and their priorities. So with that said, there's just going to be a shift, right? And those decorators that will be nimble and will engage in these new opportunities, they're going to make it,
Yeah.
And I had a customer that said it in summary, that said it really, best, like, this is the time where like real entrepreneurs sort of present themselves. So I think I'm seeing different things, right? I'm having customers tell me they're excited. They've never been more invigorated, and it's been a challenge, right? So it's interesting times, but we're going to continue to try to lead the charge with these marketing kits. And, I think events like this to illuminate opportunity and how to optimize. And so again, I appreciate the invite, and I'm honored.
Yeah, no, great stuff. I'm going to pass it down to Matt Rome for a second, because I know Matt is in Tennessee, and he and I have had a conversation about, depending on where you live, there are kids that are back to T-ball. There are kids that are playing sports. And I know, Matt, in your local area, we talked a little bit about that. But Matt, what do you see? Any words of wisdom pushing forward 2020? What do we do? What do you think? What can you share?
Well, I think things are, like JP said, they're just changing, okay? Like you said, where I'm living, we've got T-ball, we've got youth soccer. It's not back to normal, but it is better than what people thought. People want to get all panicked and watch the fake news, and they are thinking everything's over. Oh no, it's the end of the world. It's not. People are still going to go to church. People are still going to go to school, whether they go in person or it's online. Kids are still going to play Little League Baseball. They're still going to play soccer.
Gotcha.
People are still going to want to wear their favorite band shirt.
Good point.
Come on, people. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Come on,
it
people.
Is.
I like
it
that.
Is.
You're right.
It's true.
There's the change. The change seems to be the common denominator.
Change. Exactly.
Okay, we've got 2 decorated apparel folks here. I'm going to go with ladies first. Mel, what can you share with us? Idea, something, a tip, a suggestion, anything you've maybe seen that you want to highlight as a way to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing that we've noticed, especially with our customers, we had a ton of people early on, say, hey, we're really hurting. But then we had these other customers who were just killing it, and Brett's a founder of All Made, and some of the other founders we would talk, and you know, the ones who decided to just buckle down and hustle are doing better than maybe they even were in a normally pretty slow time for our industry at the beginning of the year. And so, I mean, I don't have any specific ideas, but I just will say from experience and customers and shops that we've spoken with that use All Made, it's just all the ones who, you know, I love what JP said about just being a hustler, and you know, it's the entrepreneurs that will stand out right now. And I really think that, you know, you can't just sit around and coast right now, and you have to evolve, and it's not as hard as we thought it might be, but things are just different, and I think it's exciting. Like, there's nothing better than getting your wheels turning again and not just, you know, coasting through the everyday. And I mean, with Brett opening like a new facility right now, I mean, that's insane. Most people are, you know, or some people are having to pull things back. And I just think it shows that there's great wisdom in these groups of people who can say, hey, this really worked. And don't just assume you're going to make it through, but, you know, just kick butt while you can.
Yeah, Brett wants to turn it up to 11 at any occasion. So, Ken, what do you say? Give us some words of wisdom, my friend. You are the cotton whisperer. You've been doing this a while. This is not your first moment of chaos. So can you share with our audience something, an idea, a strategy? How do we press forward?
So this is what we did. I mean, you know, Mel kind of said it just a moment ago, that if I look at the last week in March and the first week in April, it kind of fell off the table. You know, people didn't know what to do. We sort of reached out, you know, did some emailing, just let people know that we were still here. You know, we were still open, we were still functioning. Our customer service team got the calls. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. It's great that you're still working. I need this, I need that. You know, that the people that were going to pivot and react were going to be successful. And, you know, as April, May, June played out, we saw that. We had customers that really have more of an online e-commerce business have some of the best business we've ever had with them over those months. So they found a way to react and respond. And, you know, I think fortunately for us, most of our customers, I think, realize that they can't sit back. They had to do something. They had to react, find another way. And like I said, they were happy to hear that we were still here to help them. We had obviously a limited staff, warehouse and customer service only. Everybody else was working remotely, but we were able to meet the needs of our customer. What we then did is really kind of this. We have just recently launched a platform where through Calendly and Zoom, any new customer that can go on, either sets up a new account or can go online, can schedule a remote showing with our reps. So we've set it up in a way that the first conversation is a brief 15-minute kind of get to know you. We can talk about what their needs are. We can get them some samples sent out. So then in a week to 10 days, when we set up the full presentation, the customer is sitting there with sample in hand. It's so important that they touch the garment. I mean, that's our key, is just a hand to our garment. The shirt feels great. And obviously you can't convey that across a Zoom or video conference, but we made an effort to get samples in their hands. So then when we're following up with that virtual showing, they've got a range of samples in their hand that are appropriate to them and their business. We can show them other colors, other styles, but again, they're touching that garment. So that,
right.
That has really been successful for us. That
oh, good.
Well.
I was just going to ask as a follow-up, have you seen that be successful? That's outstanding idea. I think we could all take something from that, right? That's not exclusive to an apparel distributor who's got blanks. We could all take that lesson and figure out a way to apply that to our businesses. I'm going to shift over to Paul for a second before Jeff hopefully has found a couple of great questions as he's been trolling through the Q&A. But Paul, I forgot to mention that you, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you still are the owner of Identities. So not only does Paul enjoy hanging out in hot environments where hot garments are falling off a hot dryer belt, but he is wearing multiple hats, as I have been. And so this applies both as a sales rep for Vastec, but also you're a business owner. So yep. What words of wisdom, ideas, strategies, how do we press forward, Paul? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I have I have screen printing, sublimation, embroidery, vinyl cutting. I have everything in my shop except for DTG, which is coming.
What?
It's coming.
I'm going to mute him right
Paul,
now.
call me.
Click.
Yeah, mute this guy.
The irony.
Unbelievable. I can't believe you even admitted that, but that's okay. That just shows you what an honest guy this guy Paul is.
I can't lie. I've learned so much about DTG over the past few years, even when we started selling the dryers for them. But it's from a shop owner's perspective to walk into your shop and not see the stacks of boxes of shirts. I've been doing a lot of masks lately, so it's not as impressive walking into a smaller stack.
Smaller stacks.
A lot of it is changing the way you do things and printing masks instead of the shirts, because the shirts will come around. I've gained customers because I did masks, either sublimated or screen printed, and I've gotten new customers through social media. They're like, oh, great masks. We need them for our business. After they got the masks, they called me for embroidered polo shirts. They ordered t-shirts. So it's a way to gain new customers that you may have never had an opportunity of getting before.
That's cool. I like that point. It's well made, how you can introduce a new idea and a new product and gain a whole new client base out of that.
Yeah, and it's big to, if you look for the negative in something, you'll always find the negatives. If you look for the positives, you'll find the positives. It's being optimistic and knowing we'll get through all this and bettering yourself, bettering your business, because we all complain, I don't have time to learn Photoshop better or Illustrator. Now you have time. There's a ton of tutorial videos.
There are a lot of webinars, by the way, at equipmentzone.com. So for those of you who are still tuned in, including 2 on Photoshop, Paul. So that was a beautiful segue.
But now's the time to make yourself better, make your shop better. And I mean, in the long run, you'll have more to give to your customers.
Investing in you is great. All right, Jeff, what have we got? Have you got us any questions?
Something to what Paul was saying.
Oh yeah, jump in.
We actually have the textbook for preparing graphics in Photoshop on our website from Dane, the Great Dane Graphics. He wrote a book specifically for preparing graphics in Photoshop, and I know he has a lot of other tutorials too. But all right, so questions. I got a question here for Matt. Matt, somebody asked us.
Okay.
You ready? You sitting down?
Let me hear it.
Any news on a different or refillable cartridge for the Epson direct-to-garment printers?
Okay, so I'm going to answer 2 questions since we're talking about ink. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1, I know a lot of people have asked me this because they see what's called our EcoTank home office printer. You've probably seen all the commercials with Shaq. And it is a refillable bulk system. We are not going to offer that on the 2000 or the 2100. So no, we are not going to have refillable cartridges for those printers. All right, so I'm going to hog in and I'm going to answer a second question.
Go for it.
Because I've had 4 people ask this question. I guess there's rumors going around. I guess it's sort of like the toilet paper shortage, that somehow people think that we are going to be short on white ink at Epson for their printers. I don't know who started this rumor, but it is not true. We do not have a white ink shortage. Now, I will tell you during COVID, there are some suppliers and distributors that aren't carrying as much product as they used to be. Same goes for t-shirts, hats, and everything else. So what I would tell these people that are not able to purchase white ink from their normal dealer, they should call around, because a lot of dealers inventory and stock ink. Does Equipment Zone have white ink in stock?
Always.
All right, so there's the answer to your question. If your dealer doesn't have white ink, call someone else. They probably do.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. I got
No problem.
Here for Ken. Somebody specifically asked for you to answer this. How do you tag your shirts?
How do we tag our shirts? The neck label is a tearaway tag. On that neck label, obviously the Cotton Heritage brand that'll have the size, country of origin, and the blend of that garment, the fabric content of that garment. We also have an inside tag on the side seam of the garment that has the size and the style number. So if you have a production assistant out there tearing away tags too quickly, you can still figure out what size and what style that garment was by that inside side seam tag. And we also have some control numbers on that tag. So in the event we have any issues, you know, if there's a shading issue, a spec issue, we can trace that garment back to, you know, the exact PO that it was manufactured under.
Awesome, thank you. All right, got a question for Brett. Brett, I think you could probably answer this better than anyone. Let me just make sure I get this question right. When doing fulfillment for a for-profit business, do you charge upfront fees or maybe 50% to help pay for the administrative time required?
Normally we do. Normally we charge about $300 to set up somebody's web store. In the situation where we were doing the fundraisers, we didn't charge anything. And so we're just kind of trying to help out everybody, but generally it does take some time to set up the stores. There's a little bit of back and forth and all of that. And then typically, you know, with the Inksoft stores and several of the other types of stores that are available, like they're pretty simple to put together. So almost anybody could do it. But you probably want to have someone on your team that's a little bit more like technologically savvy and knows a lot about IT and those types of things to try to get the front end and the back end to operate together. And so those people's time are worth a little bit more money than some other people's. So you want to be able to, you know, cover your costs to get all that stuff set up. And then moving forward, if you are going to host a store for somebody, you might want to have some sort of minimum fee per month that you charge them to help cover some of your costs for those stores and for any space that their fulfillment items might take up.
Awesome. Thank you. Great answer, Brett. I appreciate that.
Hey, Brett, could you, sorry to jump in, Jeff, just to modify that. I've seen a big push in our industry in the last year to get customers to pay upfront 100%. Are you seeing that trend in Texas?
Yeah, definitely. We switched to that model a while back. Just, you know, it really helps out with cash flow because we do have a bunch of net 30 clients, and the net 30 clients we have usually have a pretty huge tab, unfortunately. And so it just really helps when, you know, some random person off the street is coming in that you don't know, you don't have a relationship for or with. You don't have to assume that liability of wondering if they're going to pay or come pick up their shirts. We've certainly had shirts sit on the wall where we're still owed 50% for a long time, and that's not worth it.
Perfect. Well said. Sorry, Jeff.
No, that's fine. I know we've got a few more questions. It looks like we got about 5 more minutes, so let's see what we can squeeze in here.
Let's give a really nerdy technical one to Roy and let him go on for like 25 minutes or.
Well,
you know.
hey, I actually have a question for Roy.
By then.
And when we're talking about the way things are being done differently, Roy, you used to be on the road every week. How's that changed, and how do you see that for the future?
Well, I'm busier now, less time on the road, no travel time, training almost every day. Again, I think JP kind of touched on it and a couple other people. I think retail is probably the biggest emerging market for DTG, for people that are coming up with their own brands. And I call it the Blockbuster effect. So we all remember Blockbuster, took out all the mom and pop video rentals. We had Hollywood Video, and they never thought anybody was going to stream. And what happened to Blockbuster? It disappeared. All these big stores, fashion industry, everything out there right now is done a certain way, but we all see them. They're all in trouble. We got JCPenney, Neiman Marcus just recently filed Chapter 11. Others that have already gone out of business over the last 2 years. And I tell people, as long as there's big department stores, There's opportunities to build your own brand and to have your own boutique type of product that you're going to sell retail online. Millennials are dictating a huge amount of this. 80 to 90% of millennials buy clothes online. Both my kids are millennials, and that's the way they purchase. Most of them that I talked to did some research. There's 80 plus millennials in the United States, almost a third of the population. So that's a huge impact on the future of the clothing business, whether it be DTG, dye sublimation, or whatever it is. I tell anybody that gets a DTG, you got to look at dye sub at some point, migrate over to that. So ultimately, that's my spill. Not much technical, but yeah, I'm spending more time video and doing this. Sorry about the technical difficulty earlier, but I was trying to get a wireless headset working with my computer when I was.
Hey, Roy, you don't have to apologize. When I've gone through the webinar chat and seen 5 people give you a shout out. We love Roy. He's the best. So,
well, thank you very much,
who said that,
everyone.
So,
Roy is our secret weapon here.
So I don't know if you guys see any of that going on, but I truly see it. And people always say, do I need to be the best or the cheapest out there? I always see designs are what sell. The price is secondary, especially to, you know, the millennials or people that are buying online. I tell people, don't give your shirts away. Make the right amount of money. Build a profitable business. I can go and look at YouTube, or not YouTube, but eBay, Amazon, 13, 19 bucks. I mean, not 13 bucks, $9 for a colored shirt. But if you're not selling the shirt, it's because they don't like the design. The design has to be good first. And then you can get the money. Because we all know Hurley and Abercrombie gets $35 to $45 for a t-shirt every day. So.
It's possible.
Yep.
Awesome, Roy. All right. Well, we're almost to our point. We've got a couple of more minutes. Terry or Jeff, you got anything to add? Anybody want to lead this? We've gotten a lot of questions and a lot of chat. I want to ask if our special guests would be willing to field a few of those via email. I'll make sure to kind of take the first stab at it, and then I'll loop you into a conversation where a couple of you have been asked directly for information. Brett, Mel, actually Roy, Matt, you were asked a couple of questions in here, JP. So as I filter through those, I'll kind of loop you guys in and then see where that conversation goes. I don't want to take up your
Can I jump in really quick, Jay?
Yes.
I just want to end with, so there's one of these questions here that I can see that's a really neat question about teaching DTG to deaf and hard of hearing students.
Yeah, I saw that too. Super
yeah,
cool.
and we can, and to Christopher, you can email any of us. We'd be happy to discuss it with you. But I think just on that note, no one really discussed is a lot of these companies and businesses that pivoted during this time. One of the reasons I believe they were truly so successful with helping out other, businesses and doing the e-commerce is just this massive amount of visuals on media. So videoing your process in your company is so huge. I know it seems so mundane. We've seen a DTG, we've seen it print a shirt a million times because we're all in the industry, but customers are so mind blown by the process. And so just making sure that you're, someone on your team is consistently, taking video and just making sure the process is seeing what you're creating. People love seeing, these multicolored, wow, that came out of a printer just like at my home. So I wanted to add in there that if you're struggling with getting, maybe you are doing some of these things we've said, but you're struggling with getting this like momentum out of it, I would say I know it sounds so millennial of me, Roy, but to just hop on social media and someone on your team has got to know how to do it and just really, show video. And it's genuinely the easiest way to get content out there because you're already doing it every day, all day anyways. Be fun, be exciting, and get people excited about your brand.
By no means was I being condescending.
I'm just teasing you, Roy.
In my classes, I'll have people say, but nobody wants to see me print a shirt. And I'm like, everybody wants to see you print a shirt. I've seen 1 million shirts printed. And if somebody has a video on Twitter of them printing a shirt, I'm going to sit there and watch it, and not just to point out what they're doing wrong, Brett. I'm gonna.
If you say
I have
Brett,
a little asterisk.
I said that
to this.
because we were at a show and there was somebody printing shirts and we were watching and we had to turn away. It was so bad.
oh, I know what you're talking about now. I was there. I remember that day. That is hilarious.
I wanted so badly to jump in the booth and go, let me show you how to hold a squeegee.
Well, I think something that goes along with this is just, you know, like Rockford Art Deli is a great brand, and they did a lot of community building during this, and they took video of them signing the checks, like check after check after check, going to all these local businesses. So it's not even just showing what you're doing, but it's proving that you're actually helping. You know, you're not you're actually giving back to the community. I think it's a beautiful thing, and people just want to see, you know, that you're actually, you know, putting your foot where your mouth is, money where your mouth is, taking action. And
I usually put my foot in my mouth, but yes, you made the better point.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your money where your mouth is. Well, all of you have done
Or
so
tacos.
much. Or tacos, yeah, that's true. Roy knows me very well. I'm going to bring up before we go. I'm going to close with the partner company logos. So I just want to thank you, Mel from Allmade. Thank you, Brett from Printed Threads. Thank you, Matt from Epson. Thank you, JP Hunt from Inksoft, and thank you, Paul from Vastex. You guys. When we started this idea, we thought, well, not only who would be good, but who do we actually like to work with? And I can't understate that enough. It's that you make the process worth doing, and then everything you guys do is almost always positive. It's almost always fun. It's great work. So for you to have contributed here today and taken time out of your day is huge. So thank you again. I told you I was going to thank you like 100 times over. Well, I think I might be at like 101, whatever. But we did record this video. We'll probably parse it out a little bit. It probably will take us a greater part of a week to get all of this together, and it'll be on our website. I'll be happy to share that with you. Is there anything else before we say goodbye? Is there anything somebody just knows they have to say before I say goodbye?
We're good.
No? Are we good? Are we happy? Did we end in a good place?
good.
I think we did. So here is my screen and our partner companies. They mean a lot to us. So we want to give them a special shout out one more time. So that was a big day for us. Guys, I thank you for our Equipment Zone staff, Jeff and Terry and Roy. You were amazing. This was messy at my end, so I apologize for a little bit of bouncing around. And no matter how many times we practice or get the mics right, or there's always something. So Harry, thank you for not shouting too loudly at me and getting this all set up. But we appreciate our customers. We appreciate everybody who tuned in today. So I'm going to sign off and say goodbye and stop recording now. So
Bye.
everybody
Thank
goes.
you.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.